Hello chess friends and welcome to your Out of Chess channel and welcome to a spectacular game from the Computer Blitz Chess Championship 2023 Super Final between the two top engines Stockfish 16 and the Tor Chess engine. And a small reminder, the Tor Chess engine is a new chess product, is a new chess engine that's competing now in the computer chess world, and we have to say it's really an interesting project. It's becoming more and more stronger, and we have to say it's becoming now the second best chess engine in the world for sure, because in the previous Computer Chess Championship and also in this one, the Tor Chess engine finished on the second place behind Stockfish 16, of course, but in front of Leela C0 and also in front of the Dragon Chess engine, which is a huge result, because in the previous Computer Chess Championships and also in some other TCEC competitions, it was always Stockfish finished on the first place and then Leela C0 or Dragon finished on the second and third place. So we knew who were really the best chess engine, but now the Tor chess engine is simply the second force in the chess community, and so far it's not so strong like the Stockfish engine. We have to say it lost also in this super final against Stockfish with a clear result. After 500 games, the result was 302 points for Stockfish 16 and only 198 points for the Tor chess engine. But maybe in the next couple of months, maybe in the next couple of years, the Tor chess engine can maybe play more equalish to Stockfish. Maybe we'll see more epic and dynamic battles in some other computer chess championships, in some other TCEC competitions, but so far it's again a pure domination by the Stockfish engine. So okay, I've sorted out one beautiful and spectacular game from the Computer Blitz Chess Championship Super Final. We have here Stockfish against Torch in a beautiful Blumenfeld counter gambit game. The Blumenfeld counter gambit, it's really an aggressive opening. I myself had my issues against its opening. I lost also a couple of games in classical chess, so that's why it was also very interesting for me to watch a top engine game in this particular opening. So pay good attention. In my opinion, again, a spectacular game, but also a nice theoretical game here played by these two top engines. So with the white pieces, the Stockfish engine opened with the move d4. We have knight to f6 by Torch. We have c4, and now after move c5 we have the Benoni defense. Now d5, an advanced move by Stockfish, and now we have the Benko gambit with the move b5. And usually, in my opinion, the best way simply to play c takes b5, accept the challenge. Normal moves now for black are d6, maybe a6, hitting the pawn on b5, sacrificing a pawn just in order to get the bishop somehow active into the game. Good moves for whites are of course knight to c3, e4, knight to f3, g3 is even a possibility. In some lines you don't even castle, you trade off the bishops here. So the Benko gambit has some good opportunities for black, but still it's something that I would not recommend you to play. So here after move b5, as I said, the best way for white is simply to accept the gambit, play c takes b5, but Stockfish plays now the Benko gambit, declined with the move knight to f3, and now comes the so-called Blumenfeld counter gambit with the move e6. And you see the position is already dynamic, very dynamic in the center of the board. Here again, many things you can do. Stockfish plays now the so-called Kotymirski variation with the move bishop to g5, putting more pressure against the knight on f6. That is of course attacking now the pawn on d5. But now comes the last prearranged move by the organizer. Usually the best move is of course here e takes d5 for black. Now white can even take out the b pawn, and again with c takes b5 or c takes d5 are good lines for white. But after bishop to g5, the last prearranged move by the organizer was now this idea, queen to b6, putting more pressure on the b file, because when the bishop played aggressively here on g5, left also the pawn on b2 unprotected. So it's becoming now really an epic and dynamic battle in the center of the board, but also here a very dynamic position on the queen side. So Stockfish continues with knight to c3, normal development. We have b4 hitting the knight, and now bishop to f6. Of course you don't pick up now the knight, because the bishop will play bishop to c3 here and will simply retreat. We get also an extra pawn, so that's why after bishop to f6, here g takes f6 was played by the Tor chess engine. And okay, Stockfish lost the bishop pair, but Stockfish has provoked at least some structural weaknesses here on the king side. You see we have now the double pawn structure on the f file. We have also many weak squares on the king side. f5, h5, g5, h6 are weaknesses in the position for sure. So it's really not the optimal position for the bishop pair. It's not so easy now to play with the bishop pair for sure here for black. So after move g takes f6, Stockfish continues with knight to e4, hitting the pawn on f6, bishop to e7, and now knight to g3. Look how powerful really these knights are here on the king side. They're controlling many beautiful squares on the other side of the board here from white's perspective. Knight to a6, normal development by the torch S engine. e4, supporting further the attack in the center. We have h5, bishop to e2, and now torch makes further progress, hits simply the knight on g3, Stockfish drops back, and now after move h3, Stockfish passes through, is not allowing here to create further structural weaknesses on the king side. After move g3, we have f5, e takes f5, e takes f5 by torch, and you see now, it's not, I think, really the optimal position that you want to get with your bishop here. Many square weaknesses. Even if you play in some lines the move d6, then the bishop is a little bit paralyzed here on dark squares. Even if you manage to somehow play the move d6, still this bishop on c8 is also paralyzed by its own pawn on f5. So there are many positions in which you play maybe with the bishop here and a double pawn structure, but this is not really this kind of position where the bishops are having so many attacking chances. As I said, not really the optimal position for the bishop pair for sure. So in my opinion, the knights are really powerful because, again, look at this, knight to e3. The knights are controlling more and more the center of the board. So I would say the knights are slightly better than the bishops here from white's perspective for sure. So queen to f6, Stockfish got challenged in this way. Torch protected simply the pawn on f5. We have d6. Very nice move here by the fish. If you play bishop to d6, the problem is now you get this one. Queen to d3, hit simply the pawn on f5. You can, of course, advance it, but now look at this. Knight to f5, hits the bishop, you retreat. Queenside castling is even a possibility. Bishop to b7 is never an option because you lose then the pawn on d7. You play maybe something like king to f8, but now look at this. It's really an attacking flow. Black has to be only on the defensive side. You play rook to b8, rook to e1 is of course creating some discoveries here on the e file. What to do? You play something like on bishop to b7, queen to f4. We simply retreat, and we're going to go with your bishop on e7. d7 is weak. We have occupied the main files here on the board, so it's really an unpleasant game for black for sure. So it's not working. So after move d6, bishop to d6 is not working. Torch tried this counterattack with the move f4. Stockfish plays again a new counterattack with queen to d5. Hits now the rook on a8. We have rook to b8, and now knight to f5. Again, the bishop is hanging. Here you have to play queen to b2. Again, a new counterattack here by the Torch S engine, hitting now the rook on a1. And now what you do? Now comes maybe, I think, even the first surprising move for me here. After queen to b2, I really expected maybe something like kingside castle to happen, because after queen to e2, this wouldn't be so good. It seems tempting here for black. This wasn't the line they played in the game, but what I was really curious what would have happened if you play, for instance, kingside castle. After queen to e2, this is not good, because then obviously d takes e7 happens. You can't even hit now the queen here, but now after queen to d6, there is a huge threat of knight to g7 even deliver checkmate. So also in some lines, rook to e1 is going to happen, knight to e5. So in my opinion, it's very hard to defend this position. Even if you play immediately rook to g8 in order to prevent this annoying check, then knight to d6 is going to happen. You play something, I don't know, king to e7, and then rook to e1 is winning the game. So this is not working. So after move kingside castling, the issue for white though is that black doesn't have to pick up now the bishop on e2. Black can play a slightly calm move here, bishop to f6, and I think the attack here by white is splashed, because we will eventually get our king out of the game. And now I think the bishops could be working again. Look at this, bishop on f6. This bishop comes here, and now finally the bishop built this beautiful crossroad attack. So it's not something that white, I think, wanted to get in this position. So that's why after move queen to b2, kingside castling was not the move by Stockfish. Stockfish plays really surprising move, queen to e5. Simplifies the game, trades off the queens, which is, I think, a beautiful moment of this game, because it's really rare case that Stockfish forces the trades of queens. Usually Stockfish is trying to keep the queens on the board. It's trying, of course, to complicate things further. But after we move queen to e5, you have to now accept the chance. Queen to e5, knight to e5, but still the bishop is hanging. You have to play now bishop to g5. And now finally Stockfish plays kingside castling. And okay, you may think this is nothing spectacular that Stockfish built here, but actually it's, I think, really a beautiful position that Stockfish created here. Even if you would have played something like, I don't know, here, bishop to f6, maybe hitting the knight. Look at this. G takes f4, simply supports further the knight. What should you do? You play something like on bishop to b7, rook to g1, maybe you can attack the knight, but now look at this. The knights are always creating some mess here on the king side. I hope you agree with me, because it's, I think, a beautiful position for the knight, but the knight will always find a good square, so it's also not working. So after move knight to e5, the Stockfish played, as we said, bishop to g5 here by the torches engine, and finally Stockfish can castle, Stockfish can secure the king. So king to f8, torch gets out of the potential e-file attack. We have rook from a to e1, b3. Torch is trying, of course, to somehow search for new attacking chances, somehow get the pieces back into the game. We have a takes b3, rook to b3, and now bishop to d1, hitting a rook. We have rook to b2, rook to e4, hitting now the pawn on f4, and now after move f takes g3. Now a beautiful new idea here by Stockfish. Stockfish plays now the risky f takes g3. And this was also a little bit surprising for me, that Stockfish is allowing here Torch to build a massive attack around the square g2, because obviously this bishop could come into the game here by Torch. Torch could play maybe here the move bishop to b7, but Stockfish had a different idea in mind here. Stockfish created a beautiful f-file attack that's supported, of course, by the powerful knight on e5. And what should you do here? In the game by Torch, rook to g2 was played. Even if you play, let's see this other option, bishop to b7. I was curious why Torch didn't play, for instance, this move. Bishop to b7 leads into a very complicated position. Look at this. Knight to d7, we hit the king. Now you play rook to e8, you hit the king again. We trade off the rooks, and now rook to e1 is again a new threat to again build a massive attack here with rook to e8. You could maybe try rook to g2, king to f1, and now you could maybe get out of this mess. But the issue, again, this beautiful knight's activity. The knights are really always dancing around black's king, and now you step back. Maybe now look at this. Rook to e8 is coming for sure. You can even attack now the rook here, but now look at this. We attack the bishop, you attack the rook, and now with d7, we support further the attack. It's really messed up game, and now there is always the possibility of knight to e6 discovered attack. You could maybe try rook to d2, but now, as we said, we discovered attack here again. Knight to e6, for instance, winning the game. You could maybe pick up this one, but it comes, of course, here with the check. You have to again step back. Will simply promote, so it's game over here for black for sure. So see, this is not working. So after move f takes g3, the Torch engine, instead of this move bishop to b7, tried rook to g2. Stockfish drops back, and now rook to a2. Again, if you play bishop to b7, again, it seems like a tempting move. Again, you're building a massive attack here on light squares, but again, it's defendable. Look at this. We're leaving the d7 pawn unprotected. You step back now with your king. This other knight is coming into the game. Knight to e7. If you play, of course, here bishop to e7, then it's not working. D takes e7. You could, of course, pick up now this one, but now with e8, the promotion, here the game is over here for black, so it's not working. After move knight to e7, you have to play now king to g7, but now look at this. Knight to d5 is locking now the long diagonal for the light square bishop. You could maybe try knight to b4, but now look at this. Rook to f5, the king has to drop back here. Knight to e5, again hitting the pawn on f7. You pick up this one, knight to f7, really wild stuff. Fork against the king and the rook. This wasn't played in the game, but again, as I said, I was really curious what would have happened after the potential bishop to b7, which seemed to me like a logical move here for black. Then you get the fork. Look at this. You have to step back. Stockfish would probably protect everything here on the 5th rank. You play something like bishop to f6 because the bishop is hanging. Now you pick up this one with a check, and now after this one we pick up even this pawn, this knight on d5. You pick up the rook. Look at this, rook to e5. So Again, really messed up game here for black, because you could again try rook to d2, but now with bishop to f3 the game is over. We're protecting everything. We're protecting now also the pawn on d5, and also we're protecting this back rank checkmate here on d1. This pawn is rolling and it's game over here for black for sure. So see, bishop to b7 seems tempting, seems that it's solving maybe the positional problems here in the position, but Stockfish has always this powerful knight to d7, knight to e7, rook to f7 are the main threats. From this point on, there are of course many other tactical sequences, but I really didn't want to show now what happens if that happens in sort of a way. I wanted to show that actually every defensive idea can be met with beautiful knight activities here by white. So it's not working. So after move king to h1, that's why rook to a2 here played by Torch, but now bishop to f3. Stockfish is locking now the long diagonal. We have rook to a3, hitting now the bishop on f3, and now a calm move here by Stockfish is king to g1, getting the king out of this potential back rank checkmate mess that we have seen previously could maybe work, could be working in some lines by black. After move bishop to rook to king to g1, we have rook to c3, bishop to d1, knight to b4, and now knight to e7. Again, this motif, the knight comes very active into the game. The rook is hitting the f file, the bishop is hanging in the game. Bishop to b7, and now knight to d7, played by Stockfish 16. Even if you play, let's see, bishop to e7 here, as we said, this is not working because we simply rook to f7 first. You have to step back. We take out now this one, and now in some lines even knight to f7 could happen. A beautiful checkmate pattern. So it's not working. Bishop to b7, as we said by the Torch chess engine. Knight to d7, we have king to e8, knight to d5, comes with a beautiful attacking motif here. Again, discover attack against the king. Many pieces are lined up here. In the game we have king takes d7, knight, rook to f7, a beautiful check. You have to play now king to d6, and now after move knight to c3, bishop to e4, knight to e4 comes of course with the fork against the king and the bishop. You have to play now something like king to e5. Even if you play here king to e6, of course knight to g5 comes with the check and also with the protection of the rook on f7. Really epic, beautiful tactical sequence. So after move knight to e4, that's why king to e5, knight to g5, and Stockfish is now continuing the game with up a whole piece. This is now completely winning endgame here for white for sure. After move knight to g5, we have king to d4, rook takes a7, king to c4, bishop to e2. Here after bishop to f1, Stockfish grabbed also another pawn, and now after a couple more moves, Stockfish attacked here simply the king, attacked also the knight, and now after move king to c5, it's obviously now a completely winning endgame. I didn't want to show now the whole game. The game was prolonged for another 30 moves, but it's obviously that white is winning the game for sure with these two extra pawns, with an extra piece, and with the beautiful activity. White has of course a winning endgame here for Stockfish 16. So amazing game, I think, in the Blumenfeld counter gambit. Really wild ideas. It shows also that sometimes we have to simplify things, trading off the queens, keeping the king secured. I think Stockfish again proved many tactical opportunities here. In my opinion, really one of the best games from the Computer Blitz Chess Championship in 2023. So what to say, the Torch chess engine is strong, but not so strong like Stockfish 16. As I said, maybe in the next couple of months, maybe in the next couple of years, something will change. So far it's still a Stockfish domination. A beautiful Stockfish 16 has won another beautiful chess event. So okay, if you want to see more epic beautiful chess games like this, check out our Competent Chess Games Played by Computer series. Here's the link of our playlist, and if you like this content, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. See you soon with some more videos on what do we say. Chess is the best, of course.